Alright, today we're going to be doing a gang view of the game Remnant 2. We didn't really know what we were getting into with Remnant 2 because we didn't watch any trailers or gameplay videos, but Steam said it was similar to Left 4 Dead and Borderlands, plus it had really good reviews. So we were expecting a new, cool, casual shooter co-op game. However, if you played Remnant, you would know it certainly is not a casual, laid back shooter co op. With that being said, I'm confident stating that we had a ton of fun with this game. It wasn't anything like we expected, but we had a great time. Because I've never played any Souls-like games extensively, I can't really compare Remnant to other games in this genre. So for this gang view, we're just going to focus on all the aspects of this game which made it great. The first thing I want to talk about here is the combat in Remnant 2. With a game like this, having smooth, seamless combat is really a major selling point. With that being said, the combat we experienced in this game was fantastic. There are multiple different classes, a shit ton of different weapons, and so many different ways to gear up your character. You could go for a slow tanky build like I did, which focuses on armor, health, stamina, and melee combat. Or you go for a long range kind of burst class, focuses on one-hitting small enemies while dealing massive boss damage. You could go for just like a consistent damage LMG class, which really good for chewing up bosses. There's also several options for a healing class, multiple magical classes. There's this one badass class where you get to have a super cute doggy. I'm down. Fuck. Oh, thank you, doggy.
Oh, you're welcome.
But the best thing about the variety offered here is that it all feels equally useful. While some classes certainly feel weaker damage output wise, they help out the team with their other traits. At no point did any of our classes feel underwhelming or useless when compared to others. Now, we can safely say that the class system works great with the combat, but what about the actual fighting? First off, I want to say that our experience was a grueling trial by fire. Not only do we not play Souls games, but we also didn't know this was a Souls game, and we chose the hardest difficulty for our campaign. So, this resulted in us being stuck in the first stupid-ass pottery boss for over 3 hours. However, over the course of this game, we got exponentially better. This process was incredibly satisfying, and by the end, we are operating like a well-oiled execution squad. I think this is where Remnant 2 is the best, where it really excels. When you're doing a crazy difficult boss fight, and you're flawlessly nailing every dodge while you're taking these perfect opportunities to attack in these small frames of safety. I mean, the combat is brutally difficult, but no matter how many times we died, it never felt impossible. It is so satisfying when you finally take down a boss through sheer skill and teamwork. Every failed combat encounter just made us think, alright, run it back. Watch out for this attack. Pay attention to this. We'll get this guy. And yeah, sure, it may have taken 5 tries, may have taken us like 75 tries. I'm looking at you, final boss. But at the end of the day, it never felt impossible. Sure, you can leave and upgrade your weapons or gear and try to make the fight easier, but really these upgrades are not a substitute for simply getting good. And buddy, it took us a while, but thank God, we finally got good. The next thing I want to bring up is the environment present in Remnant 2. Now, visually, many of these worlds are stunning. Not many, all of them, they're awesome. There is so much detail everywhere, even in the small things, like a candle on a table or an old painting in the corner. And I had plenty of time to soak in this whole environment while Squap was AFK for hours on multiple different occasions. Furthermore, every world felt distinct and unique. The creators really nailed the unique atmosphere of every world, and with it, the unique enemies that matched that terrain. In the overgrown, jungle-ish starting area, you would expect all these various different plants and like animal-based enemies which showed up. When you're in the weird, like futuristic void area, you see these these strange automatons, and they're all geometric, and everything just fits together perfectly. Another thing that we loved about this game is the way it rewards players for exploring. Schwab and I are huge fans of exploring literally every part of a game in search of secrets, and buddy, this game has a lot of secrets. Whether it was hidden weapons, trinkets, armor sets, there were many a satisfying secret to be had that really made us feel rewarded for the time that we spent searching. Now, while the majority of this game is fantastic, there are some critiques I have. The first and most prominent issue that we encountered was the god-awful hitbox for the NPCs and other players. To clarify, I mean where you have to position your character to interact with an NPC or another player. While this doesn't sound like a huge issue, consider that this applies to reviving a down teammate. There were dozens of times where we got team wiped simply because we wasted so much time just walking around the other person trying to find the revive option while getting hit by enemies. This would result in us just running around the down teammate in circles until the game finally decided we were standing on just the right pixel to give us the option of revival. Either that, or it would never show up and we would die trying to revive someone. This is also an issue when trying to talk to NPCs, but that situation is more annoying than frustrating, because when you're talking to an NPC, you're usually not in combat. When you're in these massive boss fights, you can see how frustrating this would be. Another issue with this game is the lack of clarity. These scenarios and worlds are randomized to an extent, meaning that each run of Remnant 2 should be different from the last. There are certain bosses that are randomized, certain areas are randomized, even certain items or drops. This isn't the issue, though. The issue is that some of these unique drops or enemies can only spawn when the player has reached a certain level or accomplished some hidden criteria. And the only way to find any of this information out is through research on the wiki. Even the fact that the worlds are randomized isn't made clear. Now, this isn't a huge issue, but it seems like something that could have easily been clarified by the devs. Maybe they could just introduce an NPC or like a book that the players always have in their inventory, which explains different worlds or enemies and which ones are possible for replacement of other ones. Obviously, certain secrets they don't want to reveal, but these huge randomizing factors aren't exactly secret. So therefore, why wouldn't they just make all that information transparent and easy to understand? Well, that's it for the Gangview, so let's get to the breakdown. And I will state that there was only 3 of us playing Remnant 2, which is a bit less input than usual. So here's Squat, myself, Daddy Dave. Add it all together, do some math. Remnant 2, you get an 8.6 on the gang scale. Alright.
Ow, 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 ow.
I don't think you can take damage in Ward 13.
You absolutely can take. I'm sitting here taking damage in Ward 13.
It says you're resisting everything. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get it. Okay.